Welcome to the Feature Film Podcast.
This week we're talking about vigilantes and psychopaths.
Enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome back once again with... Kyler.
With who?
Kyler.
Why didn't you say you?
With
I'm
you.
Welcome, I'm Kyler.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Ethan.
Oh, well.
It's
been a while.
Okay.
We're going to keep that in
All
there.
right,
Yeah.
we're keeping it. Okay.
That's not a blooper. It's been a while.
It's been a while, and that's
very.
the problem. We're finally back once again, hopefully to do with regular uploads. With COVID and everything,
And schedules and life, and it's been nuts.
It's just been insane. But to go off of what we did last time, I don't even remember what movie we watched.
We watched the last full movie we actually talked about was The General 1926 with Buster Keaton.
That's right. And
silent film.
Michael lost
the game.
Sadly.
Because
So,
he didn't know what a cow catcher was.
I would say neither one of us knew what a cow catcher
and then
was.
we freaking came back and we still don't know what it is. No.
Pretty much.
The punishment. Okay, so basically the movie for this week that we watched was The Dark Knight. And the punishment, Michael has to talk like Batman for a short period of time until
Until we are satisfied.
Oh, no. I am the
never
worst at
satisfied.
We're
impressions.
never satisfied. Okay, so, Mike, you're going to talk like Batman from The Dark Knight because that was the movie we watched. Now, movie fact of the week, there's been this rumor that's been widely accepted for a very long time. Heck, I believed it, that the explosion scene in The Dark Knight where the hospital blows up, that there's this weird pause where it looks like something didn't go right with the explosion, and the Joker kind of like turns around and he like looks and he throws his arms up like, what happened? And then he pulls out the detonator and fidgets with it, and then the rest of the building explodes, and he acts surprised. He didn't know it was coming. That for the longest time was attributed to his great improvisation skills, Heath Ledger's.
So that was not actually in the script at all?
It was in the script.
Oh.
And everyone for years has believed that it was just improv.
What I read was that
I think it would be
even if
better
that was in the script, that he wasn't supposed to be in control of the explosion when he was. Like, he actually had the actual detonator in hand when he wasn't supposed to have it. So a big thing that I've learned about his role for the Joker is, one, he's the youngest Joker to ever have...
Be the Joker.
To be the Joker.
That makes sense.
And he took his role the most serious.
Oh, yeah.
Why was he so serious?
Exactly. I got you immediately.
Wow, you're so
sorry.
funny.
They said that he locked himself in a hotel room
I've heard this.
for 43 days.
Now, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, this is all just, stuff you can read online.
Yeah.
But they said that they did that just so that he could feel completely and totally alone, so that he can get in touch with the Joker character. And
Wow.
yeah, and there's two things that I heard about a year after the movie came out that, I was young, so I didn't know whether to believe it or not, but I did figure out that everybody on set, except for the really hardcore fans, were almost terrified of Heath Ledger.
I would be.
Just because of how seriously he took his role. So the scene where they're in the interrogation room, and Batman is beating the hell out of him, he actually
Are we allowed to say that word on this podcast?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay.
How's the place?
I was on the line, so...
That's okay. Well,
it's
hard. But when he was beating him?
Yeah. He actually hit his head on the tiles, hard. He was into it, and he asked Christian Bale, as an actor, to beat him up physically as much as possible just to make the fight scene or that beatdown as real as the camera could take
real.
it. Yeah.
Because, he slammed his head into the glass.
Yeah.
And it broke. And I don't know, again, I don't know if that was real or if that was, planned, but
Well,
dang.
And the thing is, though, with Hollywood is that you see that. You know, you see someone jump a freaking building and then they land on a car, which you've seen that in the Batman movie.
Sure.
Like in The Dark Knight that we just watched. But that would happen to me, I'd break my legs. Like, for real.
So, do either one of y'all know, because I don't, do either one of y'all know Rachel's real name? Or her
The actress?
Yes, the actress.
No, I don't.
I can look it up right now, honestly.
Look it up.
So, whoever she is, she showed genuine fear when the Joker kind of broke into Harvey Dent's, like, I guess, his party. That
Oh, yeah.
that
The fundraiser.
Yeah, the fundraiser. There we go. That Batman threw for him, or Bruce, when he broke in, and Rachel stepped up and was like, "Okay, that's enough."
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
There we go. I knew.
Yes.
Yes, there we go.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
So-
that's a weird way to spell what you just said.
Is she related to Jake
I
Gyllenhaal?
was just gonna say, I don't know if that's like,
I can look.
Look that up.
Frick, might as well.
we're movie buffs, but we don't know this.
I think they're
That's
related,
okay.
but
Either way, so when Joker walked up to Rachel and grabbed her by the face, she was showing genuine fear. Like, she couldn't look at him because she was so terrified, and that wasn't like an acting thing. That was like genuine fear that she was showing. And
that's interesting.
When she was in an interview, I don't know if it was like months later or like a year later, after the film was shot and released, she admitted to having genuine emotions on camera just because of how serious he was about his role. And I thought that was crazy.
There's only a Jake.
Yeah, Jake
Only a
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't.
But are they related?
I think it's like her half brother.
Why would they have the same
That's what I'm thinking.
last name? Okay.
I don't know.
Point is, bringing it back to the movie fact, Heath Ledger, for the longest time, it was attributed the explosion at the hospital where he got scared because the hospital exploded. For the longest time, everyone thought that he just improv'd the thing because the explosion didn't happen right. According to ScreenRant.com, it was a planned delay because
Gotcha.
Chris Nolan, the director, wanted to make sure that Ledger was actually a safe distance away. That makes more sense. I've heard for the longest time that Heath did some kind of unnoticeable signal to say keep the cameras rolling in that moment, but every time I've looked for it, I mean that's why I guess it's called unnoticeable.
Exactly.
But I mean, there's got to be some kind of tell, or so I would imagine.
But one thing though with that is that there's some scenes. I think like there's one specifically that I made a note on is like I think
You haven't been talking like Batman, sir.
I was thinking about
talk
that.
like Batman.
Where's the catnip?
Dadgummit.
I hope that the fans that are listening to this know where that's from, because the two that I'm sitting in front
If
of
you know
don't.
it, we'll give you a shout out.
Exactly.
Also, I apologize for yelling into the microphone. I'm sorry.
Frick!
What was that, episode 3?
I don't know.
I don't even remember what we
something.
were doing.
But there's one scene. I think Joker walked into Batman's like restaurant that he owned or something, which is a whole nother conversation. But and they're trying to keep Harvey safe.
No, this was the fundraiser.
Was it the fundraiser? I think
In
it
his
was the
penthouse.
fundraiser. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
penthouse fundraiser.
it would cut, I think, from Batman and then back to Joker, Batman, Joker, and it was like the Joker had the weirdest interactions with people. I was genuinely questioning, is this ad-libbed? Because I had no idea. And he'd just be going around sticking his fingers in people's mouth and like playing with their hair and stuff. I'm like, is this for real? Is this in the script? Because there was no.
I bet
wish
you
I
it
knew.
wasn't. I bet you it wasn't.
I bet you it wasn't either. That's so weird.
And that's one of those like on-screen chemistry things, or like that's why these high-paid actors are highly paid, is because they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
That it sells the movie. It sells.
That's why
It
Johnny
sells the story.
Depp is such a
growl,
good Jack
freaking
Sparrow.
heck. Growl like you're Batman.
Why?
Do it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna let you stop now.
No, he didn't even
I'll
start.
do it. I'll do it sporadically.
He'll do it sporadically. I like that.
That's not a punishment. You don't get to choose his own punishment. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, would you rather get a cookie or like in prison for 30 years? I'll get the cookie. What? No, that's not how that works.
What, you wouldn't choose 30 years?
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Okay, so something I'm gonna do this right now so I can kind of get it out of the way. And you know how I forget to always talk about whenever the characters were introduced, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna remember it right now and do it right now. So Heath Ledger played the Joker, right?
Rest
The
in
Joker. Yeah, seriously. The Joker, from the first second the opening title is shown. It's not really even an opening title. It's more of like a bat symbol being engulfed in flames.
Yeah. Blue flames.
The Joker's name is mentioned before the 1.5-minute mark, but he's not revealed until the end of the bank heist. So, and
which is crazy even. One thing that I wrote down is literally it says they introduced Joker as a guy with war paint that tries to scare people.
Which, okay, let's talk about this. That's kind of an interesting take. The thing about Joker that's really interesting is that there's no defined origin, or there are different origins. So, like, you have the Killing Joke, which that was the comic and even a movie, animated movie that came out that there was an origin story in there. As far as I understand, I haven't watched it. 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton. That had an origin story technically for the Joker, at least showed how he became the Joker. Mm-hmm. The movie The Joker showed how he became the Joker. All of them have different iterations. So 89 Batman, Jack Nicholson played the Joker. He was actually physically changed by the chemical vat that he fell into. That's not war paint. He actually puts on normal people's makeup to look normal. Mm-hmm. He puts on like tons of foundation. You would see that in the movie. But in the Joker movie, you see him actually put on paint, but that's because that was his literal job beforehand. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, you never see him put it on. There is a scene whenever they're trying to assassinate the mayor where you see them all turn and he has a normal face, but you see the scars. This is the only time you see him without it. Mm-hmm. But, really interesting different stories for the Joker.
So there's a theory floating around. I can't remember where I saw it, but there's a theory that you know how you say like there's all these different origin stories for the Joker and like why he looks the way he does and all this good stuff. Well, there's a theory floating around that the Joker isn't even real. He's just a figment of Batman's imagination, just because there's so many different versions of Joker that he's really just fighting his psyche.
Yeah, but then you take into consideration there's actual damage doing around.
Yes.
Around like the city and
Let
stuff.
me throw something at you. Okay. So we ignored Batman Begins as a movie, right? Mm-hmm. But the villain in that, or at least one of them, was the Scarecrow. Mm-hmm. And he had the toxic gas that makes you hallucinate. It doesn't seem like a big jump to say that the Scarecrow is the villain of The Dark Knight and he's just constantly gassing Batman with the hallucinogen, right?
So he could be like
because he's
big leader. Yeah, he could be like the leader of the entire.
He's in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And actually, let me mention something. I've been watching a lot of Criminal Minds recently. So the actor for Scarecrow in Batman,
is he in it?
He plays as a. He's one of the psychos in one of the episodes of Criminal Minds, and he's the one that commits the most crimes in that episode, but he's got like an accomplice that kind of helps him with it because they're trying to solve Zodiac killer's killing sprees and who he is.
Interesting.
But that actor that played the bad guy in Criminal Minds is also the bad guy in Batman.
He's also a bad guy in a movie called In Time with Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried. I think that's her name.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Close enough.
It's a great movie. I haven't watched it in a while. And not the point.
Can I
Yeah,
say
seriously.
something really quick? I have a confession I need to make.
Uh-oh.
I've never seen a Batman movie other than Batman v Superman before this moment.
Oh, no.
So this is the first time I've ever watched a Batman. Other than Joker, I've seen Joker, but Batman's not in it.
I wish you people could see my face right now.
Me too.
He's...
Oh my gosh.
I grew up like dressing as Batman for Halloween.
That literally made my stomach drop. You know that feeling when you go over the edge of roller coasters? Like you go over the big hill and you start going down and your stomach drops? That's what I felt!
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome. That's what you deserve that.
Wait, time out.
I'm
Rip
the
headphone users.
Yeah, I'm the only one wearing headphones out of everyone here right now, so I'm hearing Kyler amped up to the max, and he's yelling into the microphone.
Gosh, like...
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right, I'm going on a rant.
All
Here
right,
we go.
go on a rant.
Going on a rant. I hate Batman versus Superman.
I know.
It's the stupidest piece of trash ever, except The Last Jedi.
I
It
didn't
was
watch.
so bad.
I didn't watch Batman v Superman
Good.
because I don't like Superman.
Unpopular opinion.
There you go.
No, a lot of people like Batman more than Superman.
I agree.
what-
It was cool to see him like fight.
Yeah.
But it was a really stupid story, and
But you know
they
what's
did a
crazy,
really
though?
bad job about trying to connect too many movies too
Was
quickly.
Joker? I think Joker was in Batman v Superman, right? I don't remember.
No, he's in Suicide Squad.
Okay, so there's
Also,
one thing.
we don't talk about Jared Leto Joker. That's it.
I didn't see
Continue.
it. I didn't see that movie.
I haven't seen him. Period.
Okay, just watch it the
I
other
need
day.
to watch it, though.
No, you don't.
I guess it's
I
another
do.
movie to watch next time. A sequel?
The Suicide Squad is fine, but anyway. Point
So
is,
one thing that I noticed though is that with The Dark Knight and with Joker, they are both two different actors who both play Joker, but they both did the role so phenomenal. I think the one in Joker was more like
Joaquin Phoenix.
yeah, he was just straight crazy, insane, psychopathic. Like he was just I want to say schizophrenic. I don't know. Like he was so much of like mental illness side. But the Joker from The Dark Knight was so much more of a logical like thinker. You know, like he was smart. He trapped Batman and that's how I guess it's too late to say spoiler alert, right? But that's how Rachel died. It's because he outwitted all like the police force and everyone. And but there's one thing I noticed is that when there's one scene that did a really good job of like I had the same feel because we're gonna talk about this in another.
It's the interrogation scene, isn't it?
I think so with Joker and Rachel.
Never mind.
Is it not?
No.
But I don't remember. But there's one scene to where Joker's holding Rachel, and he's like, I think it's when he's about to cut up her face.
That's what I was talking about just a little bit
And
earlier.
there's, you don't notice this, but I noticed it so much when I watched the Joker, and I noticed it when I listened to it. Was that one thing about Joker, which this is a newer movie, so sorry for spoiler alert. There's a scene when
If you haven't seen Joker already, shame on you.
and literally
Me.
so the Joker's on the late night talk show and you hear this like growing noise like
Oh yeah, a drone. The ambient drone.
yeah, exactly. And it really builds up your heart rate and there's a lot of noise and then all of a sudden bam
And the crack of a pistol.
and
yeah.
the crack of a pistol and it like it gets your blood going. This exact same noise happened in The Dark Knight
all the time, actually.
all the time and I was like whoa, it's just crazy to see and how to like hear the similarities between the two. But as is something I really wanted to point out. But
So when you started this idea, you said that the Joker was, he's really smart in this one, and he outwitted Batman. I don't think he could have done it without literally all of the crooked cops, because who was it? His right hand man. Was it Gordon? Gordon's right hand man?
Harvey.
No. The lady, because
Ramirez.
yes, Ramirez. Whose right hand man was she?
Gordon's.
Okay,
I mean,
Gordon,
she was she was one of the main people in
Yeah.
Gordon's unit.
Yeah, so she was really closely tied with Gordon, and yet she was crooked just because. And she explained, that it was they were paying for her mom's medical bills and things like that, and that's why she was crooked. But I don't think that he could have pulled any of that off without the help of all the rest of those.
So going back to the Joker versus the Dark Knight, the movies, I'm probably wrong, but I include the Joker movie in the Dark Knight trilogy. I put them together. I'd watch them as one series, and I know that the timelines don't match up exactly.
You were talking about the one with Joaquin Phoenix. Right?
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yeah.
And the Dark Knight trilogy, they don't match up timeline exactly. But I think that yes, you're right about Ethan. You're right about the mental health part.
Mm-hmm.
He is crazy in the Joker, and you can kind of look at all the different iterations of the Joker and say, oh, that one's the anarchist Joker, and that one's the crazy Joker, and that one's the mental health Joker, whatever, right? You can do that, but I think that between Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, I think they're probably the most similar portrayals of the Joker. That I'd watch them together, and I think that you could fill in the gaps and it would make enough sense to watch together.
And one thing that, if for those who don't know, I may just have to go back and rewatch it. I hated the Joker. Like, it's such a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
But
okay.
The only reason...
Okay. I'm going to interrupt.
Wait.
I'm going to interrupt.
No.
Nope, I'm interrupting.
No. The only reason why...
I think that when it came to their Oscar run, I haven't watched Parasite, but I think Joker should have won.
Myself.
Anyway, go for it.
Let me defend myself.
Okay, you can defend yourself.
The only reason I don't like Joker is because it betrayed it too well, and I don't think I was emotionally and mentally prepared to even go into the theater. But like, whereas the time it came out, because I came back literally scarred. I literally walked out. I'm like, I feel like there's a demon among us right now.
It is a very jarring movie.
It's very
and you know
intense.
what? Actually, I'm going to bring this up. This was a note that I made. So in The Dark Knight, whenever Batman or anyone punches or you hear gunfire, they are deep, bassy notes. They aren't like,
Mm-hmm.
It's a thud whenever they hit. It's got some kick. It's very reminiscent of Indiana Jones, his punches and his gunfire. Now, what's so different about the movie The Joker is that his pistol, when it fires, it cracks. Like, it's a high note when it fires. It's very jarring. It's very abrupt. And you just don't get that with this Batman movie. You don't get a whole lot of abrupt in this movie. There are some very abrupt parts, but every time there's a crash, every time there's a gunshot, every time there's a punch, it's a deep bassy note. But in the Joker, it's a very much more jarring effect. And you're right. The Joker movie is a lot harder to digest. Granted, it was probably meant as more of a commentary on society than a nice comic book movie.
So, I don't know about y'all, but I had like not necessarily moving quote, but a meaningful quote. And I think it's, the one that just about anybody can pull away from that movie is, he's the hero that the city deserves, but not the one that we need right now.
Oh yeah.
That was like
Okay.
That's a whole nother
That
topic.
was a really, really like powerful, like that packed
Absolutely.
a punch.
The White Knight
meaning.
and the Dark Knight. That's basically
With the Harvey Dent being
With
the
Harvey.
white and
Continue.
But that was a very like impacting quote or statement from I think it was by several. It was didn't somebody else besides Gordon?
So here's what happened.
Bruce said it, didn't he?
Kind of. This is what I'm about to say is what makes what you're saying so impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So when that whole end scene happens where Harvey's about to kill Gordon's kid, Batman pushes him over the edge, and then Batman saves the kid and lifts him back up, and then Batman falls down to the ground. Harvey and Batman are lying right next to each other, seemingly dead. And, I mean, you have this beautiful image of Gotham's White Knight and Gotham's Dark Knight, both fallen. And then, Batman, obviously, he gets up and he talks to Gordon and, Gordon's in despair because he's thinking everything good that Harvey did is undone with this. And then Batman goes, no, it's not.
I'm going to take the fall for it.
I'm going to take the fall for it because we have to continue Harvey's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because literally the exact same thing switched in the movie. So Harvey didn't even know the identity of Batman. And he, Bruce was like, hey, I need to step up so that these people can stop dying in my name. And then Harvey steps up and he's like, I am Batman.
Right.
And he didn't even know. Right. He didn't even know that Bruce Wayne was Batman.
Right.
And then you see the whole tables have turned when after that they're like, okay, like Harvey basically sealed his death note, and then I guess I don't know. It's just like I can't describe it. It's a really heroic thing for both of them to both be the White Knight as well. You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly. And so the reason the end is so impactful and the contrast between the two is so great is because Batman looks at Gordon and says, look, he's the one. He's the hero that you need. He's not who you deserved. Mm-hmm. But he's the hero that Gotham needs. And then as Batman takes the fall for it, starts running away, and Gordon says, send in the troops, mm-hmm. all these cops start chasing Batman, and his kid goes, why is Batman running? And he goes, because we need him to right now. Mm-hmm. And then he explains it a little bit more, and then he finally says, he's not the hero we need right now, but he's the one that Gotham deserves. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason.
Yeah, and it's
the quote is so impactful because you have this contrast between two great people. Mm-hmm. Now let me throw it back to the beginning, closer to the beginning of the movie, where Harvey says this quote. He says, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
There we go. Yep.
That's the crux of the movie. Mm-hmm. That's literally mm-hmm. the whole point of the freaking movie.
Yep.
Because this movie challenges Batman to break his one rule of not killing anyone. And in the end, you see Harvey fall and Batman almost fall. And then you get this beautiful contrast between the two of how Batman is truly the hero, not just a vigilante.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go off on a tangent here.
Tangent!
Yeah. So I'm going to jump ahead one movie. And
I haven't watched it forever.
Wait, what movie?
Dark Knight Rises?
Dark Knight Rises.
No.
That's the last one in the series so far, right?
I don't want to. The only reason why, I feel like we have so much on this podcast. Maybe. This is like disclaimer. Like discretion. We may not do it. Another podcast for the future.
So I will
a sequel.
I'm gonna mention it in that one too if we do one.
Sure.
But
don't spoil it. I haven't seen it.
Well,
don't hate me.
I'm gonna spoil it, but I'm gonna spoil it for the vast majority of people that have already watched the movie too. So when it came out,
should I even be listening?
Well, here's
I don't want
the
to
thing.
be spoiled.
A lot of people didn't pick up on it. It was a thing, and it blew my mind that I was like,
I guess if it's a small detail that no one picks up on, it would be cool if I watched it.
All right, fine.
It's mind-boggling.
Okay, go for it.
So it's the end scene because this is the one where he's fighting Bane,
right?
And the way that basically saves the city is everybody sees him take the bomb in it's the Batwing.
Right, he takes the bomb away.
Yeah, and fly into the middle of the lake or ocean or whatever that is, and it just explodes. And everybody's like, you're left in tears because you're like, dang, he really just killed himself to save all the rest of these people. He didn't kill himself. Earlier in the movie, if you're really a stickler for details, Alfred specifically mentioned that they were working on an autopilot feature for the Batwing. So it was complete by the time that the final battle was going on. He staged his death. It blew everybody's mind when I was talking to them about it.
I don't even want to ask any questions. I have a lot of questions, but I don't want to be spoiled.
It's
like
mind-boggling.
Like, is Batman dead? But I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
So
But like, you know,
I was really big into, you know, like Batman storyline and everything. So I played all 3 of the PlayStation Batman games.
yeah.
So the final one, he also stages his death in the final one.
Oh, in Arkham.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay.
he blows up in the manor.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, okay, he's home. And then I think you see him walk away from his manor perfectly fine. So in both of like the quote unquote endings of each storyline for the game and for the movie, he has staged his death just so that, you know, it can finally lay the Batman title to rest. Even though
So that
he's
doesn't
not
answer my
actually
question.
dead.
Batman, quote unquote, died, but Bruce is still alive.
Exactly. That was the
I
whole
didn't
thing.
want to know that, but it's fine.
But here's the thing.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is they figure out who Batman is. Like, the world figures out
In
who
the game.
Yeah, in the game. Because Scarecrow reveals his identity.
Right.
Everybody's just dumbfounded because that's how they know where the Wayne Manor is. And so he has to kill off both Batman and Bruce Wayne. In the game, at least. But I don't know about the movie. But that detail was crazy. So let me not sound overconfident in what I just told y'all about the whole he didn't actually kill himself, but I'm almost 100% certain that he didn't really kill himself because they did have a detail in the movie earlier on that they were working on an autopilot feature for the Batwing.
Well, that makes you wonder, did Bruce Wayne
If
die?
you can't remember if he died or not, I don't think you remember the end of the movie. Because I do.
No, not okay. How do I say this? I know that he didn't
Don't
die.
spoil it,
I know.
please.
Okay, I know
Can
that
we
he
go
didn't
back
die.
to the Dark Knight? Like, we don't need to talk about the Dark Knight Rises. Please.
Actually, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
So Kyler's
I could still
currently covering Ethan's ears.
So me and Michael can have a conversation.
Sorry, dumb. I can still hear. I can still hear.
I don't actually
Talk
remember.
softly into your mic.
I don't actually remember exactly what went down in the very, very end of the movie, but I do remember when he staged his death.
Okay. Then we might have to do another episode
We'll
of The Dark
definitely have
Knight
to
Rises.
do a second episode.
All right,
All
cool.
right, can I be on that? Okay.
Oh, welcome back,
Welcome
Ethan.
back. Your hands were a little sweaty there.
Okay, so I have some stuff that's
You know what?
just...
Wait. Before
okay.
this pod comes out, you know what? I make an executive decision. We're gonna make a part 2 with The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay,
I
can agree
want
to
to watch The Dark Knight Rises before I listen to this pod.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I come back and be like,
Okay. He's right.
so we're gonna make a part 2. It's gonna be The Dark
Yeah,
Knight
I
Rises.
can agree to that.
Confirmed.
Okay. So here I'm gonna go on a little bit of a. I'm gonna geek for a second. So one reason I love this movie, I find the Joker freaking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Do y'all
Absolutely.
actually find his stuff funny?
Yeah.
Okay, because it never lands funny in the movie. No
Yes.
one ever laughs at what he says.
So why so serious? Yeah.
Well, like he's talking to a group of mobsters the very first time he actually approaches them, and one of the mobsters, his name's Gamble, I think he gets really upset and starts to get close to the Joker, and Joker stands up and opens his jacket and has a string
Inches
on
out of the room.
6 different grenade pins,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Let's not blow this out of proportion." and then Gamble says, "You think you can walk in here and just tell us what to do?" Yeah. Like, it's really funny.
I'm the man pulling the strings, quite literally.
I really think that Joker's like Deadpool in a way. He just doesn't break the fourth wall.
So
Well,
okay,
and-
yeah.
But the thing is with that, it's just theater etiquette. A lot of people, because I'm more of a theater kid, I've done shows or whatever. People, they applaud you when you are laughing out loud in your seats, rolling on the floor, applause and crying, cheering, whatever. They applaud that. In theater, please, if you go see a show, like overreact while you're in the crowd. People love it. But in movie theaters, everyone's like, shh, quiet.
I can be pretty anal in a movie theater.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it gets funny, but and then I feel like my brain is hard programmed to be quiet during movies. It's like, yeah, that's a funny thing. I just don't laugh out loud. I don't really get into it.
If I'm in my room and I'm watching a movie in my room, I'm gonna laugh at the top of my lungs and I'm gonna wake the whole house up. Just because if I think it's funny, it's gonna be known.
Yeah.
So some other stuff that the Joker does that I find hilarious is when he is chasing Harvey Dent's like police caravan when they've arrested him for being the Batman, and they're transferring him to central holding or whatever. The Joker tries to get them, and he comes up in a frickin' semi that's got the phrase "laughter is the best medicine" painted on the side.
I didn't notice that.
And then the joke is that he had taken red spray paint and put an S at the beginning of laughter, so it says "slaughter is the best medicine." And he's
nice.
like trying
I didn't see
to.
that.
So it's hilarious whenever I see that. I always chuckle to myself whenever I see that. And then after
the little details.
there's like a wreck at one point, and the Joker said, he pushes his driver's dead. He pushes him out of the car. He goes, "I want to drive," and he gets behind it, and he's just going all over the road, and he says, "I love my job. I like it. I like it." It's just ridiculous how much fun he's having. It's one of the heaviest scenes of the movie because he's just it's meaningless destruction, but it's hilarious. Okay, so now some actual like movie stuff that I'm gonna geek on.
I've got one thing, and
Okay.
I did this with our podcast about Apollo 13.
Okay.
So my car enthusiast, I paused the movie and half cringe, half cried when he destroyed his Lamborghini to save the police brigade.
Oh yeah. Well, that also shows off
I
how
had-
rich freaking
yeah,
Bruce Wayne is.
sped
Bruce
up-
Bane?
Yeah,
Bruce Bane.
Oh, foreshadowing. Anyway,
I was so sad when he totaled that car.
so some filmmaker stuff that I'm gonna geek about, and then we can move on to the end. So there's this scene when Gordon and Dent and Batman are all on a roof. Harvey is there first. He has the bat signal on. Gordon comes up on the roof, gun drawn, because he's confused at why the light is on. Batman eventually steps into frame, and then the camera starts moving. And it moves in a circle around all three of them. And they have this whole argument. Him and Dent have a big argument. Gordon and Dent have a big argument as the camera is going around, and they have blocked the scene in such a way that every time one of them has to say something, they're visible between the other person and the camera. Does that make sense? Like, as the camera's going around a circle, you're passing behind bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you pass behind Batman's body and you can see on either side of him Dent and Gordon talking, and then you move and you still see Dent talking, and then you move back around and it's a two shot of them. And I'm serious, like, that could have been 3 different shots, and they put it all into one big long camera shot. It's actually pretty ingenious when you're having to come up with a way to shoot that. And then lastly, Chris Nolan, the director, flipped a freaking semi.
Oh wait, really? Like actually?
That was a practical effect.
Wow.
He flipped a semi.
Like nose over in?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
How do you do that?
Yeah, seriously.
So I don't remember where I saw this, but it was probably a YouTube video online. But if you watch the scene carefully, Batman basically shoots a harpoon. And he ducks under the semi, passes through a bunch of lamps
with the wire,
attaches it to another wall, and
then he puts it into the ground
or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the truck flips on its nose. If you watch carefully, at the back end of the semi, when it flips, you'll see this like burst of air. That's a CO2 explosion going off that he engineered. So when that explodes, it just tips the entire semi onto its back.
Man, what was the budget for this movie?
No joke.
Flipping over 18-wheelers.
Smashing a Lamborghini. Come on now.
Blowing up an actual building.
Yeah, a hospital.
Like, holy freaking heck.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
there were a lot of big name actors in here too.
Oh yeah.
Christian Bale,
Morgan
Maggie
Freeman,
Gyllenhaal, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger. May he rest in peace. Who else was in this movie? Oh, Gary Oldman as Gordon.
Oh yeah.
Who played Alfred? I forgot
We
his name.
Michael
said
Caine.
I would say we said Michael Caine. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big name movie. Like, I'm sure the budget was huge.
Oh yeah.
I want to know if they went over schedule or over budget or something. They probably did.
They probably blew it out of the water.
Point is, wonderful, wonderful film. I love the movie so much.
As we come to the end of the podcast, we're going to play an old classic. Who said it? But this time with a twist. I'm going to blurt out a quote, and the goal is to answer the question as fast as you can. If you get it wrong, the other person has to answer. You don't get a choice. If y'all both get it wrong, that's an X for both y'all. Y'all both lose the game. But
And we both have punishments?
then you both have punishments if you both get X.
Mm.
It's not too hard. So I'm going to start off with a really, really easy one. Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Joker.
All right, there goes a check for him. You better jump on it, Mike.
Suck it, Mike.
Okay. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Alfred.
Oh my gosh. You know that just makes freaking Mike.
I'm gonna do a
Yes.
punishment again.
Another punishment.
That's established already. I'm doing the next punishment.
All right. Let's see if he can guess, Mike, on this
Like,
last
do I need
one.
to just not?
Well, if he can't, you can even
give
jump
me a
in.
chance to actually answer.
Yeah.
But not like
Okay. All right, here we
so
go.
like let me answer first, and if I actually know it or if I don't know, I'll just give
Sure.
it to you.
All right. The night is dark just before the dawn. You know it?
Okay, so obviously he knows it immediately.
What is it?
I didn't pay attention that much to what people said. Just before
Just
John.
guess.
Gordon.
No.
Harvey.
Yep.
Uh,
Wow, with the landslide.
No joke.
Oh my gosh. Cool. So yeah, make sure to tune in next time. Hopefully we'll have more stuff up eventually.
No
but
more accent punishments, please.
You know what? No, we need to have more accent punishments because you
Next
can't
time
freaking
you
follow.
I will do that one next time.
You need to actually follow the punishment all the way through. You can't just blurt things out, which you never did ever again. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So, after credit scene?
All right.
We done?
Here we go.
We're good? All
Let's
right.
go.
After credit scene in 3, 2, 1.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful
You're a big guy.
for you.
Cool.
And we are most likely not going to make the after credit scene Batman Rises because we already went over that. Or Dark Knight Rises, I'm sorry.
I have no clue what the after credit scene is.
Neither do we.
Right
We'll
now, as
figure
we're
it out
recording
later.
it, we don't know what the next movie
That'd
is
be
going
kind
to
of
be.
funny though if it was.
We'll see if it's actually The Dark Knight Rises.
Alrighty.
Anyway, y'all know what it is, so guess on our social media. Follow us on Instagram. We have a Facebook, Red Relic Productions. And, heck, check us out on all of our podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify.
Love all the weirdos.
Give us a review. And, yeah, I
Freaking
guess you'll hear
roll
us
the
next
credits.
time.
Bye.
I want to keep that so bad.
I'm gonna get the most of these wrong. I
both
hope
answered
that
the-
the microphone picked up that fart because we're gonna put it in the bloopers. We're putting it in the bloopers.
Dadgummit. Yes! That would be...
It definitely picked up you saying excuse me, but you know.
Do you want to know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker and a fiend. One night, he comes home and he grabs the kitchen knife, takes it to my mother, and then he turns to me. Why so serious? He sticks the blade in my mouth. Why so serious? And then, let's put a smile on that face. And then the Joker slashes through a guy's face.